How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be walking you through my 4-2-3-1 custom tactics and instructions that I used this past weekend that actually got me Elite 3 for the very first time this year in FIFA 20. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there, probably Gold 2, Gold 1 level players who hit that mark consistently but don't really know what you guys can do to improve. And I gotta say, I completely understand your struggle. For many FIFAs, FIFA 17 through FIFA 19, I felt completely the same way. And, for early parts of this FIFA as well, I just felt like, my play was kind of stagnating. I didn't really know what I could do to kind of reach that elite level. But with these tactics that I'm about to show you guys that I used for the first time this weekend, I was able to hit Elite 3. And not only did it improve my offense, but I gotta say the defense is really where these tactics came into play. Being able to put pressure on your opponents high up the pitch, forcing them to make mistakes, which allowed us to get easy offensive chances and led to a lot of goals. So without further ado, let's get into the tactics. So I'm going to show you guys the tactics first and then the instructions. So this will be my defensive tactic, as you guys can see on the screen. So tactics, we've got balance for defense, 5 width, 5 depth. And so I'm going to explain to you why, the drop back 1 depth meta isn't as good as you guys really think it is. So when I'm playing, I like to put pressure on my opponents, force them to make mistakes, and that's how I score a lot of my goals. Creating easy chances on fast breaks when you got a numbers advantage. And what the balance does is it doesn't allow your players to get caught on the fast break too often, but it also doesn't make them push back all the way towards your goalie and just sit really deep like a drop back will. 5 width, make sure that your defensive players can kind of reach all parts of the field, whether your opponent's playing also 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 or 4-1-2-1-2-2, which are most of the meta formations this year. Your players will be set in the positions defensively when the ball is turned over, to be there for interceptions and tackles. And again, with the depth, if you make your depth too low, as you guys can see on the screen, what happens is your players get stuck too far near the goal and they're not able to get tackles and interceptions on those fast breaks that lead to those easy offensive chances. And that's why I use 5 depth, keeping our players, kind of moderately positioned on the field, also mixing in the offsides trap to make sure that your center backs aren't pushing too deep, too close to your goalkeeper, so your opponent can make easy passes into your box. Onto the offensive side, balanced, I think, regardless of what formation or instructions or tactics you're running this year, I would always use balanced attacking. Allows you to use the L1 button on the PlayStation or LB on the Xbox to trigger runs, but also allows you to play possession if that is what the game is calling for, or if your opponent's, playing drop back. You need to play a few more passes before you can advance the ball into his box. Balance really offers you those 2 different options. And again, 5 width. 4-2-3-1 is supposedly a narrow formation. I'd say it's pretty wide. The outside cams get pretty wide. With 5 width, I think it's pretty balanced. You can definitely get some wing play in, dribble down the byline on the fast break, and look for like a double tap X pass, which is so powerful this year when you're driving down the byline and you want to pass it, cut it back to the middle. And then players in box 5, I think it's just pretty standard. With 4-2-3-1, the main players that are going to be in the box are your striker and your center cam, with your outside cams occasionally, helping to support in the middle, as well as your CDMs if they're making a run, really high up the field, or if you have a really attacking CDM that will get into the box. That is also a possibility, but I think 5 is, pretty standard again among all formations, unless you're trying to, manage the game when you're up, or if you're trying to push for a few more goals. I'd say 5 for players in the box is pretty standard. Corners, I take all my corners short, and then look for players at the top of the box to play a driven pass to, so we don't really need that many players in the box. And then free kicks, I probably will be coming out with a free kick tutorial in the upcoming days, but for now, I'd say 2 is pretty standard. Headers are not that good in this game, so I don't think I ever really cross the ball into the box for headers, hence why we don't need anything higher than 2 on free kicks. I'll quickly show you guys the team I was playing with this weekend. So we have Ter Stegen in goal. Team of the season is Ter Stegen. We packed him in our La Liga guaranteed. For some reason, it's not letting me select him. But anyways, you guys can see on the screen. Team of the season, Ter Stegen. He is definitely the best keeper in the game that I've used. At right back, we have Trent. He's been my right back for the past, I don't know, however many weeks. I packed him untradeable. In an upgrade pack, Jerome Boateng, best value SBC this year, in my opinion. Rafael Varane, again from an upgrade pack. Red Alphonso Davies, he's been great. And then we picked up this Kimmich for around 400K to play with this weekend. And he is high-low, which some of you may say, is bad for a CDM. But as I was saying earlier, I want my defensive players to play high up on the field so that they can get interceptions and tackles when I turn the ball over, and then kind of create those counterattacking chances. And I think Kimmich not only brings that defensive presence, but he's a very good user. He's very agile, he's very quick. So he's really good for, making those interceptions and tackles high up on the field. Jordan Henderson, who I have read, he's just been a rock in the team. He's been on my team ever since I got him. I think over 200 games with him at this point. He's been very, very good all this time. Neymar, center cam. You guys know Neymar, best gold rare card in the game. Just center cam Neymar. I mean, there's no explaining that's needed. Then we have team of the season Rashford here. I really liked him, and he has a 3-star weak foot, but I actually think feels more like a 4-star weak foot. Definitely not worse than Messi's weak foot, which is also a 4-star. So he's really good. 5-star skills I really, 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 really like in my attack. I think I made a commitment that I will not be playing any strikers this year that aren't 5-star skills. And as you guys can see, the main man, R9, that we packed this past week in a mid-icon pack, you guys will see probably a video coming out. We did a pack opening last week with mid-icon packs, Manu and I packed R9, one of the craziest, probably the craziest pull I've ever had in FIFA. I've been playing for I think 6 or 7 years now, so that's crazy. And then we have Gnabry here. He wasn't who we played. We actually played with Ziyech this weekend league. I didn't really like him, so I sold him on. Lost a few coins, nothing too crazy, but his finesse shots from outside the box were good, but he was tradable. I had to buy him, so I'd rather just use someone untradeable like Gnabry. And then onto the instructions. This is where I think this really makes or break your formation. Tactics are important, but I think instructions are as important, or if not more important. We have Alphonso Davies here. Stay back while attacking, and I think in the 4-2-3-1, this is really, really important, having your fullbacks on stay back while attacking, because I said earlier, my CDMs as well as my cams and strikers don't come back that much to help on defense. As you guys can see, we have Neymar on stay forward because I want them to play aggressively, push up on our opponents, passing in their own half to try and, get easy chances for ourselves. So really important to have stay back while attacking on your fullbacks. What it also allows you to do is user your center backs, bringing them up the field if you're reading a pass or to make a tackle on someone that your opponent's passing to. If we didn't have stay back while attacking on our fullbacks and we had them kind of joining the attack, we wouldn't have the option of being so aggressive with our center backs, which I think really takes away from a large defensive aspect of this formation. At CDM, we have balanced attack, which I think is the main thing that might be different from some other 4-2-3-1 tactic or instructions that you guys have seen. And again, I keep repeating myself, but this is really, really, really crucial to the tactics formation and kind of style of football that I was able to play this weekend. You want your CDMs to join the attack as well as be high up the field when you turn the ball over, so that they can aggressively, make tackles and get interceptions. And then this is standard, cover center. We already have the outside cams to kind of deal with the outside mids or wings for people who play, if you're playing against like 4-4-2 or something. So yeah, cover center, and then we're symmetric on CDMs. I know some people play like balance on one, stay back while attacking. I personally like the symmetry. I think that's just personal preference. Let's go to the outside cams. Come back on defense. That's just so, as I just mentioned, if you have a 4-4-2 or 4-4-3 or 4-3-3, my bad, which is not so popular this year, but anything where your opponent's playing really wide players, even a 4-2-2, you want to have your outside cams on come back on defense, so they're able to help out on the outside part of the field, considering you have Kimmich and Henderson on cover center. Same thing on Gnabry. Oh yeah, and I also have get into the box for cross, not actually for the cross, because I don't cross, but actually just for when I'm building up a slow possessive attack. I want my cams to get into the box and making those transition runs that you guys see all the time, kind of running in line with the back line of our defensive against our opponent, so that they're an option at least when I'm playing kind of possession play. What happens a lot of the times if you have them on balanced crossing runs is that they'll kind of stay out wide. They won't really come into the box when you have the ball, and I think that is just not as ideal, as they're basically becoming useless when you are playing possession. Neymar, pretty standard stuff, stay forward, default on everything else. And then R9, we have on get in behind, and then default everything else. On some of my strikers, I will run drift wide so that they're more of an option on the counter attack, to play 1-2s with the outside cams. But R9, he's a finisher. I think he has like 4 times as many goals as assists. I want him in the middle, getting those passes, scoop turning, elasticos, just finishing the ball. We don't really need him drift wide. So I just leave him on default on everything except get him behind. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today. As you guys can see, here's the team again that I was able to use this weekend. Honestly, I really enjoyed this team. Neymar really is the best gold rare player that you guys can get in this game. So if you're thinking about buying him, I would highly recommend it. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. If you liked what you saw today, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And I'll see you guys later.